we talked on the last live, we talked about.
Oh, wait, hold on. I forgot to go live. I
Uh,
gotta go live. All right. What is going on?
hey, we're
Welcome
live.
to Humpday Investments. Today's a special edition because Alberto and myself have been super busy. Yesterday we went or 2 days ago, we went and showed a client who has been buying up properties all over the place in all kinds of countries. A $1.3 million home here in Tulum.
Yep.
And we want to show you what we
Well, let me give you some backstory. So this customer contacts us through a referral. It's a referral. I'm gonna plug my mom in here for a second. She's been down here for 26 years. Mola Properties has been around forever, so she's got literally a Rolodex of ex-customers, right, and friends and people like that. So I get a referral from one of her friends, right, that comes down, just coming down here, wants to look at some properties. And the message that this guy sends to me, he says, I'm looking between $200,000 to $500,000. I'm looking for condos, and I'm looking for in Tulum. So I was like, well, I mean, what Nick and I have been pushing recently, our agenda, or our narrative, that's the big word right now in the news, narratives. So our narrative is all about pushing homes, right? And not just that, but pushing the eco-friendly, sustainable, low carbon footprint kind of homes and stuff like that, right? And also on the money-making side of it, homes are doing much better statistically in Airbnb for being occupied and best returns on your investment, right? So I was like, I'm not going to show this guy condos. I'm going to go for the houses. And I mentioned this before, I think in one of the videos, I talked about a company called, it's a developer that's building a place called Cardinal, right? And Cardinal, I spoke about with, they have the EDGE certification, right? Which is basically, they have 3 different tiers of certification based on how eco-friendly. I'm gonna do it like layman's terms, how eco-friendly they are based on level 1, 2, and 3, right? So level 1, to get this EDGE certification, that means 20% of everything you have in this development. So the water is 20% reusable, the electricity is 20% less, and the way in which they got the materials to build used 20% less energy to manufacture or to ship or to cut down the trees, or whatever the process may be, is 20%, right? That's level 1. Then level 2 is 40%, the exact same way, right? So 40% less energy, 40% reusable water, 40% of the form in which they got the materials to build the houses. And the last one, which is insane, the 100% certification, which I don't understand how they're even building a house with 100% certification.
It's the Amish.
Huh?
It's the Amish.
I mean, it's got to be, dude, because it's 100% reusable water, 100% less energy. It's got to be off grid, I guess, and basically solar panels, but 100% eco-friendly, or the way they build the houses or get the stuff, they basically have to use machetes. I mean, they can't use chainsaws, they can't use gasoline, they can't make the 2x4s. I don't know what they do. But anyways, so I was like, let me go show this guy this house. It's at the border of what his limit of payment is, right? He said 500 grand, and these houses start at like 540. And it's in Selva Zama. We've talked about Aldea Zama, Selva Zama, stuff like that. And he liked it. It was cool, but it wasn't quite, there's a certain style, Nick, that Mexico has in their homes. It's just like this, it's like a box, right? They have a bunch of boxes connected to each other. I mean, my house is a bunch of boxes, in my house here in Playa. And that's really what turned them off about it, was the style of the house, even though it was a super cool place. So I thought to myself, so you know what? Let me just show this guy some really crazy stuff. So I told you guys about that. I went and toured with Pete, and I showed him the $1.8 million hotel. Did I talk about that last time?
From the other day. Yeah.
I don't know. I think I did, right? So I went and took him to see this hotel. It's called Esmeralda Hotel. Super cool place. Check it out. Google it, find it on Instagram, go stay there if you're in Tulum. It's an amazing place. And the dude fell in love with the entire philosophy and the style and the vibe, the bohemian. It was like the essence of what Tulum was, 15, 20 years ago, is what this hotel had. Way outside the price range. I mean, this dude said $200,000 to $500,000, right? And now I'm showing him a hotel that's for sale for $1.8 million. And I said, you know what, if you guys like this, let's go look at a house. And that's when I started getting into the homes, and we walked into this $1.85 million, 7,000 square foot house built in region 15. And have you seen it, Nick? Did you go see it, or you just
Oh,
seen
there's
the
the one that I didn't get to, I
Oh, you
didn't
didn't
make
see
it.
it, dude. I'm telling you, bro. With this guy, you know the railroads have those wooden pylons, right? That, or
Yeah.
what are they called?
The trellis,
They're on top of those tracks. No, what are they called?
the trellis, the train trellis.
Those things. Okay. So what this dude did is he went
Dang.
to Tequila, Mexico, and got them from the Jose Cuervo tequila train, and got those trellis and basically put them as the design around the house. It's unbelievable. The house is on Airbnb. I have to find it. I think it's called Onyx House. But this dude saw the numbers. You know, this guy has numbers like something like $98,000 in reservations in Airbnb, and he just opened his doors 45 days ago, right? So this guy was like doing the math, and he says to me, you know, Alberto, if the numbers make sense, I'll just pull money out of my bonds, or my money out of my money market in the States, which I'm only getting 5% on, and I'll put it into Mexico. So it's not necessarily out of my budget. And a side story from this for agents and people that are doing like helping people buy stuff down here is sometimes we don't do a full discovery. Like we basically just go with what the customer asks us or what they want us to look for, right? They'll say, I'm looking for 200 to 500,000, and I stay within that 200 to $500,000. But I was just on such a high from showing this house. I was just showing it off because I loved it, that this dude ended up saying, well, you know what? This actually makes more sense. Maybe I won't buy a bunch of condos, you know, maybe I'll go into this type of thing, right? So that's where it started. That's where like our tour started, showing the amazing house and driving around. And by the way, there is literally no signal in Tulum, no signal, no cell phone service at all. You know, when I brought Nick with me, because the reason I brought Nick with me that the next day on Monday, this is on a Saturday, I brought Nick with me. I was like, Nick, I need your help, dude. This guy wants to know about taxes. You know, this is where you've dominated this for so much time now, and it's all Greek to me. I just want to save money. I don't care how I do it. Just make it happen, right?
Yeah.
I don't need to know what you're doing. Just like a TV, you know, I just want to hit power and it turns on. I don't care what kind of motherboard, what kind of connections are there. I just want to watch TV. So he asked me a question because this dude read the book, read your book, Nick. I sent him the PDF, and he read it on the plane, and he landed like, I got questions for Nick. And I was like, that's awesome. Yeah. That's super cool. And so when Nick came with me, we went to Tulum, we drove down to the hotel zone, and I have no signal. There's no way of telling this dude that, hey, we're here. So I'm leaving Nick's on a meeting. I don't even know who.
I'm on a Zoom call.
Right? You're on a Zoom call, right? Like connecting in and out. I don't even know who you're talking to.
One of the marketing guys for helping us get this book out there to the right people.
That's
so we have the funnel actually launching tomorrow to help bring all this information about the taxes, the rentals, how to make your Airbnb, optimize your Airbnb better, the different regions here in Mexico, why Tulum isn't the only spot to buy something if you're looking for this. Like what you said, when we don't fully do the discovery, like us agents are just focused on, okay, they want a 3-bedroom home. I know of a couple like here. And then when you start to talk to them, or they read the book, they're like, wait a second, if I can save 60% on the taxes, then this might make sense to do what you're saying. Which is amazing.
It's amazing. I mean, that kind of savings, I mean, in essence, you could actually put a financial, just talk salesy right now. You could actually use that information for a financial close. You could actually take the amount of savings they're going to get from their taxes based on what they're already doing, multiply that to over a 10-year period. And that's like a down payment for a new condo. And they can just double down. I mean, it's like, there's actually a financial logic, sales pitch within the savings from the taxes that they're saving into a down payment for a new product. But anyways, that's a different conversation. So he's on a Zoom. I can't get hold of the customer. We're sitting outside of this hotel, and we can't go in because it's like in the middle of nowhere, at the other end of the hotel zone. So I got to walk down the street. It's hot, dude. I have the camera up here because I got a belly, right? So it's hot, dude. It's hot for this guy to be walking around in Shalom sun. And I go to a coffee shop and act all ignorant. It's like, hey, so what kind of coffee y'all got? Ah, okay. You have Wi-Fi? He's like, yeah, right there. I was like, cool. I went straight to the Wi-Fi, and I'm messaging this guy and I'm talking and I'm just slowly walking away from the bar, like going to the street, I'm like stealing Wi-Fi to try to send a message. And that's when you guys were in the car, and we get to, you guys honk the horn, I run down the street. So anyhow, we went to see first we saw that 1.85 or $1.8 million home on Saturday. So, and Nick and I went and showed a $1.3 million home in region 15.
You want me to pull up the video? I have the video.
Yeah, pull the video. So show them the video real quick.
All right, let me show.
And I was actually kind of, at first it's impressive, and I don't want to talk bad about it because obviously, it would be super terrible, but there's those details. If you're gonna spend, $1.3 million on a house in region 15, it needs to be, impeccable, no issues, no problems whatsoever. But anyways, go ahead and put the video. I don't know if there's sound on it.
I'll lower the sound.
Okay. So this is the entrance. Man, your video is terrible, bro.
Terrible. It's in the cinematic mode.
I feel like it's an old flip paper, like it's like a drawing, like a cartoon. Tick, 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 tick. So anyway, so this is the entrance right of the house. When you first walk into the house, it's amazing. It's got the huge giant entrance, the door. The door is a huge thick wooden door, giant ones. Those windows, by the way, you see right there, they're from floor to roof. Those open, right? So it's basically a door that spins on its axis and lets you pass, go in and out. And so from a snapshot of this $1.3 million house, it looks phenomenal. Everything looks great. It doesn't look like anything wrong with it. But when you get into the details, like the small little details in there in this house, you see there's rust, there's, issues with the windows and the ceilings. I understand there's going to be wear and tear, but this is almost a new house, right? So, and here I'm trying to open this window, and that's when I realized that the caulking on the left-hand side was like coming off. I was like, uh-oh, if I break this window,
yeah,
I'm super screwed, So I was like, yeah, I'm not
going to walk out the small one.
Yeah, I was like, I'm gonna go over here. Let me open the other one. And even this one didn't quite open at first. And it just because it caught, it's just small little details like that. I couldn't figure out what it was. I get it open in a minute. I'm not that retarded, or I'm sorry, mentally challenged. So, anyways, what's cool about this house? There's one bedroom downstairs. There's 2 bedrooms downstairs and there's 2 bedrooms upstairs. There's a 4-bedroom house. And you've got the pool on the outside. It's kind of like the hacienda style, right? It's amazing. It would be amazing for like parties, for a bachelor party or for a big family to come down and enjoy, being all together in a nice house. And it's got all the amenities. It comes fully furnished, all the bells and whistles. I see. I got the door open finally, and I think I get the big one open right here too. Yeah, there you go. It's open now. So here's where the details kind of bothered me. See on the ground right there. If you see to your right, you see rust right there.
Yeah.
And that rust is coming. Right, and that's the first thing the customer saw, right? Like we see the rust there, and I was like, shit, what is that on the floor? Why is it stained? And then watch the customer, watch what they do. So this is a multi-million-dollar guy. He's like, well, what's that? And then of course the lady sees it too and says, there's rust right there. That's not a good sign. It's brand new. It just creates a negative vibe, right? To the whole scenario. And he couldn't stop looking at it. It was like a car accident. You just didn't want to stop looking at that damn rust.
Yeah, look, he's looking at it again.
Yeah, it was brutal. It was brutal. But the house is nice. I'm not going to take that away. There's got to be a lot of attention to detail when you're presenting a product like this. And you know what? I could actually probably even blame myself on this. If you're going to go show a property, you should probably get there earlier, go check it out first to make sure everything's taken care of. So you don't, look like you're stumbling, and look like you've messed up on the entire thing. But
I want to show the roof too.
Huh?
I want to show the roof upstairs.
Well, fast forward to it.
Yeah, I gotta go. Let me find the right video. Here
Well,
it
while you're
is.
doing this, you know, while you're going upstairs, oh, you got it? Okay, never mind. I was gonna throw a news blurb in there while you're doing that. But you talk about this, Nick, because you went upstairs. I was downstairs by myself.
Yes. So the reason why there was rust is because this pool, there's a pool right here. And I think it just needs to be resealed. Or maybe when the water, when it rains, drips down, it's dripping down onto those metal beams underneath here. So like I said, I mean, it's a beautiful, it is a beautiful home. But sometimes there are like, this is
There,
the,
there, right?
this is the pool. I mean, it just needs to be cleaned out. Like that's normal. That doesn't, but, and this is a glass, what is this type of acrylic?
Plexiglass. No?
No, it's acrylic. It's
Is
like
it?
what, it's like what the fish tanks are made out of, or the
Oh,
aquarium. Because they don't scratch. The acrylic will, the plexiglass will scratch. This is really hard to scratch and get scratches, but it was just leaking.
but imagine if it was pristine. Imagine if that water was filled there. It was clean. It was nice. I mean, it would have been an amazing showing, you know. But it didn't compare to the $1.8 million house. I'm gonna have to get a video of it. We'll have to do it the next time. I'll show it to, or people will probably ask about it, want to see it. But man, I'm telling you, or check it out on Airbnb. It's like $2,200 a night. It's what the average cost is. This is, but it's worth it. It has like a chef from Colombia, stuff like that. But side note, real quick, I wanted to mention this while you're doing this video, also, Nick. You know, for the first time since 2002. The US is now importing more from Mexico than China. This is huge, dude. This is about the nearshoring. This is about manufacturing in Mexico. This is about Amazon having a factory here, delivery center. It's about Tesla having a place here. I mean, there's a lot of stuff happening. You know, in 2003, Q1, first quarter, there was 54 billion out of Canada, 35 billion out of China, and 34 billion out of Mexico. The US was importing, right? 2013, US was importing $108 billion worth of product out of China, 82 billion out of Canada, and 69 billion out of Mexico. But this year, first quarter, look at the difference in this. $117 billion imported from Mexico to the United States. For the first time in 20 years, the US, that Mexico is up at the top, but it's above China and above Canada. 117 billion. We're talking about, you know, doubling the amount of import from Mexico to the United States. So that's just me giving you more reasons why Mexico is, I'm telling you, man, it's the place to be right now. It's going to have the best next few decades in the history of Mexico are about to happen, and you're going to be a witness to it.
It's all this nearshoring that's happening, and I know we spoke about it last time, but the treaty between Trump and China a couple of years ago, where they wanted to tax China, they said, okay, cool. So let's go over to Mexico where it's close, and we'll just build our factories over there and import the stuff right there.
Yeah, I mean, imagine the savings in gas, pollution. I mean, if you want to talk about pollution, those freighters, it's a lot of fuel, man. But so what did you think about the house, Nick? Tell me about this house. What did you think about it in all, besides the small fine details?
From a standpoint for a Airbnb person, like, you know, they're going to be coming and renting, it's gonna kill it. Like, it's definitely gonna kill it on Airbnb. This is what, it's 4 bedrooms, it's 2 upstairs, 1 in the back behind the pool, and the maid's quarter. If they had a maid or a chef there full time while the guests are there, and like cleaned up the beer cans and made breakfast and had a snack at lunchtime or dinner time when the guests come back from the beach, getting ready to go out to the clubs or whatever, like this is going to kill it. You just have to, as an investor, I think nothing's going to be perfect. Like the things that's one thing that I think we have these huge expectations as an investor coming down here and buying a property, because the thing is that we have these expectations from the United States where there's code and, you know, the pipes have to be in the right spot and the water is going to drip. Well, they just don't do that here. And if you pay attention to those little intricate details, you're never going to be happy.
They're important
because
they're important.
They are important. But it's like, how much do you want to deal with? Now, if the rain is coming down and it's going through the home and it's going to cause mold and that, yeah, move on to the next one. If there's rust right there underneath the pool, I mean, I would have, if that was me buying the home, I would say, yeah, I'm interested from a return perspective because I know it's going to rent. But if I'm going to buy this, you need to go through and you need to take out this whole pool and figure out where the leak is coming from, or fill it up and stay here for a week, or set up cameras or do something, because I want to know what that reason is and why it's leaking, because I'm not going to spend 1.3 million. This better be perfect, you know, and you know, maybe even if I was going to buy it, like, yeah, I want to stay the night here. I want to see the water pressure. I want to see it, you know, when was the last time the water was turned on? Because sometimes there's sulfur, there's the smell of sulfur where the cisterns didn't get cleaned out properly. But you don't see that when you're buying it. They just turn on the water and turn it off and then they leave. But when the guests are there, the first second that you get a bad 5-star, you get less than a 5-star review, it shoots you down on the search results in Airbnb. And so I think that it's super important, especially if you're going to spend that much money. But there also are things that they just happen. Like there's no code, and I wish there was, but it's still a good investment, because, you know, it's not going to be like my house, for instance, the cement is coming off the door. Well, the reason being is because the magnet that holds the door to the end of like when you open it, if you open that and you open the door downstairs by the pool, there's a nice, awesome breeze that comes through. Well, if the guest doesn't put the door against the magnet, it slams. And if it slams 500 times, it just shakes that cement and it comes off. You would know that. The builder would never know that. Like, that's just wear and tear from the wind. Now, the next builder that comes in, I mean, maybe he'll buy a stronger magnet or an automatic door thing. Like, there's easy ways to fix it, right?
Like a school door, like a school.
Yeah, like a school. Yeah, exactly. Like it goes back by itself, right? So those are little things that can be fixed. I wouldn't necessarily worry too much about the rust on the ground, because, you know, there's the benefit of buying this house and renting it like crazy. In your first rental, you can just have somebody come in and recaulk everything or figure that out. It's going to pay for itself.
Right. Yeah. So I got a question for you. Here's a loaded question, because I know you own a condo. I know you have a condo in Tulum. So do you think you get better return on your investment with a house or a condo in Tulum?
A house, 100%.
Yeah. Why?
House. Because if you look at the market, I think we're at a weird time in Tulum where people came here during COVID, they fell in love with it, and they want to bring their friends. And they're like, yo, I went to this place, you know, the Zamna festival's there. It's right on the beach. It's amazing. It's a short flight from pretty much any city. Now they have a plane, an airport coming. They got the train, and they're going home and they're doing their word of mouth marketing for all of their friends. So when they do that, there's an influx of these 1-bedrooms that are basically, you know, popping up everywhere.
You have a 3-bedroom, no? You have a 3-bedroom condo.
Yeah, and I have I do. I have a 3-bedroom. So based on the data and based on the 11 units that I operate, is that like 3 bedrooms and villas are killing it. If you have a 3-bedroom villa in like a boutique development like mine, 6 to 8 units. And that means that the bottom level is probably 2 units. Without a pool, maybe a community pool, maybe it does have a little pool. The top level is they have maybe 2 bedrooms or maybe a large 1 bedroom, like 800 square feet, and then the up top, the two units up top are your penthouses, and those are 2 floors like mine is. Then you have a unique and boutique development where you also are maintaining your resellability, right? Because if you make it like that, like unique, it's going to stay like that for a very long time. And so you're not competing. And the other thing is that a lot of people don't know is that the developers will sell the whole building. And then you'll have random property management companies managing different units in the building. And what happens there is now it becomes a price war, because typically maybe the first 2 on this, they're mirror images of each other, but they have different property management companies. And those property management companies, they're not communicating with each other because they're getting pressure from the investor. Like, hey, why is my unit not renting? Okay, let's lower the price. Well, you're trying to get $100 a night. I'm just making up numbers. And now the guy next door is renting it for 85. Well, if I'm the Airbnb goer, the traveler, I'm like, why would I pay $15 extra when this is the exact one? And the way to fix that is by making it unique to itself. And that way you do not like go with the furniture package.
Don't skimp out.
You don't skim on that, because that is the first impression. If you go to a restaurant or a bar and you see a girl wearing, like not dressed up, and then you see her the next time, it's like, wow, she's gorgeous, but she wasn't gorgeous when she was wearing just like, random sweatpants and a hoodie. It's like the first impression counts.
Absolutely.
So the Airbnb photos are that first impression. But what happens is that the person that buys the spot, they've spent a ton of money. They knew about the furniture, and then the developer or whoever is like, oh, we have this furniture package, we can make it easy for you. Well, they're probably making money off of that, and they did that for everybody. And so you try to make this, okay, well, that's great. Yeah, it's easy. Okay, for 25,000, I can get all the furniture in there. Great. Don't do that, because now you're the same as the guy next door. And now, it's different. So that's the most important thing. And this house that we were just looking at is decorated super nicely. And it doesn't have to be expensive to go and get somebody to build you the furniture. We have those people for our investors. I work with 3 different companies that are 3 different styles that will come in and do that depending on your budget. We start with a budget, and then we work backwards. And that way, we have like a theme of the home or however you want to call it.
So you said right now that it's important. I'm going to ask you a personal question kind of right now. So you say it's as far as your resellability or the resale market, because the resale market in Tulum right now is just, there's going to be another little crash happening when these studios and these 1-bedrooms try to resell, try to get out. And they're not going to have very much equity in these places because everybody else has them as well. For example, you have a 3-bedroom in a nice development, in a boutique development, super amazing design. You got an amazing mural on your wall. I mean, you have a sick place. I mean, it was amazing when I finally got to see it. I've seen it on YouTube. I've seen so many things about it. But if you don't mind me asking, so you have a 3-bedroom. How much did you pay for it when you bought it?
It was 430.
And how long ago was that when you bought it?
That was in 2021.
So wait, let's say 24 months ago, 2 years ago, right?
Yeah, about 2 years ago.
Give or take a few. And now, I mean, I know you don't want to, but you have it listed. You might want to sell it. If you, and what would you take for it now?
With the Airbnb data,
I
have it listed at 620, and at the numbers that it's generating, even at 620, that's about a 9% to 11% return on your investment that doesn't include the appreciation.
You said 430?
Yeah, 430,
430, and you're listing it out for
620.
620. So you're increasing the 69%
in 2 years.
increase in price. Dude, that's in 2 years. That's ridiculous, bro. I mean, that's awesome. And you can get that for that 3-bedroom, but it's not a 2-bedroom, it's not a 1-bedroom, it's not a studio. You've got a 3-bedroom penthouse. It's going to give you, it's an increase of 69%. Dude, that's unbelievable. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, and the mirror image next to mine, he has his listed, I think, at 580. And the reason being is because I'm going off the Airbnb numbers. Like my Airbnb numbers,
cap rate.
I'm 90% occupied at an average of $335 a night for the entire year. His is about 76% occupied, which is actually way higher than the norm. If you go to AirDNA and you look at it's like, I think
You're in the 40s.
60% occupancy.
Really?
And so, and his average price is 179. What's the reason? It's a mirror image. It's the exact same unit.
It is.
I decorated mine. I balled out on the decorations because
Yeah.
the first impression is what it is.
You know, I'm gonna do a couple of plugs on what I'm gonna talk about right now. I love plugging people for free. The trend right now in Tulum, what's missing in Tulum right now? I'm gonna tell you all something right now that this is something you need to research and check it out. If you don't believe me, look it up. There aren't any homes in Tulum. And there are, I mean, I'm not saying there's none, like zero. I'm saying comparatively speaking to the condo, right? Percentage wise of condo versus houses, there aren't any. And it's like a 10%. You know, if you want to be an investor and, you know, because the schools are coming, the shopping centers are coming. They're building a mall. I know it sounds super crazy and like silly to say we're excited about a mall because there's malls everywhere in the United States, everywhere in Canada, we have malls. But we don't have one, a true mall, like an actual shopping, like Sears, JCPenney's, you know, Nordstrom's. I mean, not those brands, but a mall that has that type of stuff in it, you know, is being built right now. Schools are opening. You know, the first school, Colegio Ingles, is already opened. The green school is coming up. The German school is opening up. All of these
the movie theater, Chedraui Select.
Yeah, dude. So
Chedraui Select is like Kroger. Like the Chedraui Select is like a equivalent to Kroger's.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, why are these things important? Because now we're going to have families moving to Tulum. And if there isn't homes, because just like in the States, not everybody can buy a house. So what you have is you have people that can, and they'll buy a bunch of homes in different locations. They'll rent these homes out, long-term rentals for families that are moving to that town or that city to start a life, to start over, or to start new, or whatever you want to call it. And if you think about long-term return on your investment and long-term equity, it's in the housing market right now. It's not in the condo market. Because if you buy a condo, you're tailoring to to tourists, which is not a bad thing. I'm not saying you're not going to do good, but you're going to have the ups and downs. You're going to have a lot more of this when you're tailoring to tourism, because tourism goes ups and downs based on the schools, right? When does it spike up? Spring break, summertime, holidays, when everybody's out of work, out of school, and they go on vacation. So that's where the condos kind of go up and down like this. But if you go into the housing market, not only are you going to be able to tap into the rental pool and have these houses be occupied a lot for a good return on your investment, but then you also have an opportunity to be providing houses for long-term rentals and actually have some steady income coming from these families. Now, these aren't small. I'm not talking about inexpensive $300 a month, you know, $700 a month houses. These neighborhoods where these houses are being built are people that can afford this. For example, I know it's not that expensive in the States, but the green school that's opening up, it's $20,000 a year for kindergarten, first grade. But that's not that expensive for a private school in some countries and some states in the United States, where people are spending a lot more than that for a private school. And the green school is $20,000. So if you think of the families of that market, of the people that are going to be living in these houses, they can afford $5,000 a month. They can afford $6,000 a month. So if you're buying a house that's $350,000, $400,000, $500,000 home, and you do a long-term rental where they're basically paying the maintenance fees is being paid by the renter, and they're paying the electricity, they're paying the water, they're paying the internet, you're just basically collecting a check for $5,000 a month because you bought a house that's worth, $450,000. And those are the type of clientele you're going to be getting, people that have families, and those are good clients to have. Those aren't, renters that are coming in, party and take off. These are good, long-standing families that are coming down here. And here's where my plug's coming in. The mall is being built on the other side of the highway. So if you look at the picture of Tulum,
I'll pull it up.
Pull it up real quick. I want to show Eric's coined. I had to send this to him. Eric's coined Uptown. When Nick shows this to y'all, the plaza or the new mall is being built on the other side of the highway, right? It's not being built on. Oh, you had it on Zoom? Yeah, right. So I can use my mouse.
Can you see it?
Yeah, and I can actually get my my little mouse here. Okay, so this right here, this is Aldea Zama. This is Selva Zama down here. Okay, and this is region 15 right here. I'm going to put 15. And this is Lavalette. I have to write it. It's right there's already there. Then you have region 8 down here. Okay, so if y'all know, there's a right over here, there's Gypsy Markets right here. That's the famous Gypsy Market that goes all the way down this way, the road, and it connects over here. So let me erase all that crazy football scribble. So when you get down here to the Gypsy Market, okay, Holistica is like right around here. It's super famous, wellness, yoga, Zen, hippie, patchouli and stuff like that. So the Gypsy Market, there's a road just past the Gypsy Market right here that goes this way. Okay. The new mall is going to be around this area over here. I don't know the exact area, I just know it's going to be somewhere around here. Okay. The new airport is down this way, like 20 minutes. Okay. The new airport in Tulum, right? And the Tulum, the train station is going to be somewhere in this region over here, the new train station for from the Mayan train. Eric, who is the developer, the owner of, is it Amari? Amari, right? So Amari Developments, the houses are being built right here. These houses he's building them, yes, to do Airbnb and stuff like that, but they're livable. These houses are 2,000, 2,500, almost 3,000 square foot houses, 2, 3, and 4 bedroom houses that you have, which is awesome. And they're not $1.5 million. They're not $1.6 million. They start at $399,000, and they have livable spaces. They have, living rooms, dining rooms, kitchens, bathrooms. You have rooftop. You have a fire pit on the roof. I mean, super cool. Same feel and vibe, the feel and vibe of Tulum, but you're getting a house that's over here. Why is it important? What am I talking about right now? I'm talking about equity, right? Talking about your property value going up because of why? The airport, the train, malls, schools here, school up here. These schools are coming in. So you're going to basically, if you buy a house, your property values are going to go up because you have something that's needed, and it's going to be needed for a while. It's not something that's going to go away. We're in the beginning stages. Tulum has had a couple of booms, but not very many. And this is the next boom that's going to happen in Tulum, is a sustainable commerce, a sustainable people living in Tulum, working in Tulum, creating jobs and work and living in Tulum. And they're going to be building these families. So in my humble opinion, I think that getting into the housing market, getting into buying a home, even if it's just for rental purposes, for long-term rentals or even short-term rentals, you're going to have a greater return on your investment than buying condos right now. Are you there, Nick? Did I lose you? Like you disappeared. I think we lost.
No, I'm here. I'm actually going to pull up Amari on the website.
Are you? Okay, cool.
So we can look at this.
And then let me show you. Also, if you go this way on this map in that direction, about 20 miles or 20 minutes up that way, you go to a place called Francisco Umay. So what is Tulum super famous for, right? Tulum is super famous for the art and the decor and the feel and the vibe and the Tulum vibe and feel, the vibe and feel. I'm getting my merge wixed. The Tulum vibe and feel with the design, right? Like, for example, you've got like a basket, of that people have their instead of like a beach chair or a beach stuff, you see like a woven basket, with like a bed inside of it, and you have these amazing pictures and stuff like that. So this is where all that comes from. There's factories in Francisco Umay that they build and they make all this wood crafted stuff, and they sell it to the restaurants, the hotels and stuff like that. It comes from this town right here. So in this town in Francisco Umay, you've got different developments that are coming out there. And these developments they're a big deal, right? Why am I talking about this? Because you don't necessarily have to be in Tulum to get a good return on your investment. Look, those are the chairs you see in almost every, right here. These right here, you see those almost everywhere in Tulum. Those are like the classic typical wooden chairs you're going to see. And the type of tables, the wooden tables and stuff like that. I mean, I love the style. I love the vibe. I love the feel. But Francisco Umay, outside of it, you've got developments that are happening right now, like Aldea Umay. Aldea Umay is with Pininfarina, which is basically one of the architects or engineer designs of the Ferrari. You've got was it Swarovski, or what was the name of the other one? Nick?
Swarovski Crystal, the girls from
So Victoria's Secret,
and you have
Azulik. Yeah, and Azulik, right? So Azulik, we've all heard of Azulik, right? Azulik is what, $2,000 a night in high season to stay in this hotel, because you're basically staying in a big piece of art, you know. And they're building out here in Aldea in Francisco Umay. So being able to get involved into a sustainable, that's Azulik, right? It's amazing. And they're building out there. They're building 20 minutes outside of Tulum. They're building eco-friendly wellness neighborhoods that are all interconnected with each other. And for example, Aldea Umay is more of a futuristic version of that, where you have everything is sustainable, everything is eco-friendly, using technology, it's designed, it's unbelievable. If you want to pull up a picture of Aldea Umay, that'd be amazing, dude. If you could show like the brochure. And the investments on both of these, you're not going to spend, millions of dollars right now. You could get involved with a piece of land in Aldea Umay and be a part of this change, this eco-friendly, this type of living and lifestyle for like 123 grand. You can get a piece of land, it's like 4,000 or 5,000 square feet. I mean, look at the design. It looks like Hobbitville, man. It's like,
well, it's Pininfarina. They've already won awards for this design. They're the designers of the Ferrari, the Juventus soccer stadium, the interior, the Coca-Cola machine that has 7,000 flavors that you've seen. They've designed BMWs, super yachts, the torch that Muhammad Ali carried at the '96 Olympics. Like, I went to their office. They have some of that stuff. The Cisco routers that everybody has in their homes. All kinds of random cool stuff. Like,
hey, go back real quick. Go back to the previous picture. One more. So this right here, that atrium. I want to go back to that big thing that you see to the right. That right there. So from my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong or not, Nick, that's the water treatment plant, isn't it?
I don't know if this is, but yeah, there's
like the water
have the water treatment plant. This might be one of the outdoor coexistent spots where they have like pianos out there. They're going to mix they're going to actually mix the cars in with the people, and it's called a shared street concept. And the street is going to be made out of, that material that you go to a playground where it's not cement, but it's not like the inside of a tumble gym, but it's kind of like bouncy. It's kind of like bouncy.
It's porous. It's like porous, right?
Yeah. So they're gonna be using that for all the streets, and they're gonna have a shared community of people that are driving on there and being able to walk, and it's building a community. Instead, right now, what we have is like everything is behind walls. Everybody builds, these properties in Tulum that are not welcoming to everyone. It's kind of like, okay, you go past this facade and then you close the door and it's shut off to everybody, and you're in the jungle and it's great. But here, everything is going to be open. Like, if you look at the entrance of this is the entrance, like, this is pretty welcoming. Like, it's like, come on in, there's going to be amenities there. There's going
to be an orchard, right? Like, where you can actually like pick fruit and stuff. Do you have a picture of the master plan by any chance? You might have it. I think you might have it in the Google Drive or something. But, not to just sit here and harp while he's finding this, there's other developments in this area. If you go further out, you can go to places called Kuya Bay. Right. And Kuya Bay goes even further in extreme, right? So in other words, here with Aldea Umay, you're still connected, right? You still have electricity. You can use solar panels, stuff like that, but you have a connectivity there of using electricity. If you go further out and you go to Cuyabé, which is basically another 10 minutes further out, maybe 15 minutes further than Aldea Umay, Cuyabé is 100% off grid. So this development out there is you have to have solar panels and battery backup. You use a huge tank on your roof to heat your water. It's like it's off grid, but you've got 3,000 square foot houses out there right now already being built in Cuyabé. And they're going to have, a 2-acre man-made lake. They're going to have a wellness center. They're going to have the Temazcals. They've got yoga centers. They've got an orchard. They're going to stock the lake with fish like tilapia, bass, and trout. I mean, they're actually going to stock it so you can actually fish and stuff. I mean, it's an unbelievable concept, but this is going to a different level, right? Because you can buy basically a 2.2 acre lot for $150,000. But here's the key: you can only build 7% of that piece of land. So I mean, think about that for a second. You're going to get literally, what is that? It's 10,000 square meters. That's like 100,000 square feet, right? Give or take a few, I think. Right? Is that right? Am I doing the right math on that? What is it on feet? 10,000 square meters.
10,000 square meters is 10.76, 10.
Yeah, 107,000 square feet. So 107,000 square feet, and you can only build 7%. That's 7,500 square feet of house, of living. It's not like, it sounds like really small. I can only build 7% of my land, but you have the rest of it's left in jungle. The whole idea of Cuyabé is so you don't see your neighbors, right? You can't see your neighbors. So you've got a lot of different opportunities in Tulum. It's not necessarily by the beach, which I think we had this conversation last week. I don't know if we had it or not, but it keeps coming up. People keep asking, will I make more money because if I'm on the beach? And it's not. It's the trend is changing right now. This trend, or the lifestyle people are wanting to do now, is they're wanting to give back. And how are you giving back? By lowering your carbon footprint, by not being just like me. I'm from Texas, dude. I had a huge giant truck. I had my Flowmaster, mufflers and V8s, and I wanted to be. I was lifted. I mean, I was like a classic Texan, and that's okay. But now I'm realizing that maybe instead of getting a big giant truck, I'll get a really cool small electric car. It costs just as much money, but I think they're neat. It's kind of a really silly word for a big giant dude like myself to say neat, but it's cool to not be such a slob, so to speak, right? And maybe just make a little bit of a difference by breeding that into my children, and understanding that it's not all about, just using coal and destroying the earth. You can actually live, and I've said this in a couple of the videos, Nick, where eco-friendly is associated with nonprofit. Eco-friendly is associated with not big revenues or returns. But now that's changing. Eco-friendly means high returns on your investment now. So you can actually get involved into an eco-friendly development like Aldea Umay or Cuyabé or Aldea Sacbay, which we have going the other way. We won't talk about Puerto Morelos, but you can be involved with a project that has low carbon footprint, and you're not just destroying the earth and tearing up the jungle, and still make a bunch of money, dude. Make a shitload of money being eco-friendly.
Well, it attracts people. It attracts those types of people. I mean, like you said, the world is changing. The community that is inside Aldea Umay is going to have all sorts of artwork, and they're actually working with, we're working with the people from the Burning Man, like the festivals, where they're going to make huge pieces of artwork, and those pieces of artwork, everything has a function, and they will collect rainwater and bring them into the water, the jugs of water, the reservoirs underground, and filter it, and then it will be redistributed out to the different farms and the orchard and whatever, and then there will be a circular economy community where you grow plants on your property, you can bring them to the market and sell them, you could bring them to the restaurant and sell them, and you can trade and you can do different things with the things that you grow. So when I sat in the meeting with Pina Farina, they were not thinking about building something for this time period. That was like the biggest thing for them. They were like, no, we're building this for 50 and 60 years ahead of our time. And that's how they want to, you know, win the awards and stuff. So like this is high end, high tech. The blockchain will be there. Everything will be like they'll gather data from everything and be able to make adjustments to certain things. I can't speak too deep on that one. I don't even know. But I remember that this is going to be a high end community of things that we're not even used to. And it's funny because they actually thought about not putting cars or allowing cars inside the community. And I remember being like, wait, you guys are the world's #1 car designer and you're talking about building a community and not allowing cars.
Right.
But no, they came up with the shared street
Concept. Yeah, that's
concept.
going to take some getting used to, you know, because right now when I'm driving around and somebody's walking in the middle of the street, I'm like, what are you doing walking in the middle of the street? Get off
Yeah,
the road.
but
You know?
they showed some studies that showed this. It's actually safer than you would think, and it's safer than normal.
What forces you to drive slow?
Exactly. It's like driving a motorcycle in New York sounds dangerous, but everybody looks over their shoulder because if you don't want to get your car damaged, you better look over your shoulder. So even though it's a crazy traffic in New York, you know, it's the same here where you're more aware, I guess.
Man, I would hate to be late for work, dude, and having to leave out of LDU and some old ladies walking in the middle of the road.
Yeah.
I'd be like,
Yeah.
dude, I'm gonna be late. We gotta go. um, I fell in love with this project a long time ago when it was first shown to me, and I'm super excited about it. It's just one of the few things that excites me in this area and being a part of. You know, it's not always the mainstream people associate, you know, like I said earlier, profitability with being beachfront, and it's really not the situation. People associate profitability with buying condos and renting them out, and that's not necessarily the trend that's happening right now. You know, so I've been on a mission to change people's perspectives. You know, and I can tell you that, like for example, Jeff, the guy that we were talking about, you know, after we sat down and had lunch with this gentleman, he ended up telling us that he started working in hedge funds when he was 28 years old, right? And then this guy was successful and opened up his own hedge fund, and he ran his own hedge fund for 26 years. And he told us he never, not 1 year, I mean, I have no reason not to believe the guy, but not 1 year was he ever negative on that hedge fund in 26 years of operating. And then he said he was done. He was tired of looking at his screens. He said he had screens on his desk, like 10 of them, dude. And he was like in a flight simulator, you know, of financial market stuff. And he was making just, you know, obscene amounts of money, but it wasn't fulfilling him anymore. He wasn't fulfilled. He wasn't happy anymore. He wasn't happy with what he was doing. And he's already made all the money he needed to make. So this dude sold everything. Sold his house, his furniture, his cars. He has no zip code in the United States. And now he's basically going to just travel the world. He's going to go to Bali. He's going to go to the Philippines. He's going to go to Vietnam. And he was buying condos everywhere. Like literally he was buying a condo here, buying a condo there. He has like 13 condos the dude's buying right now. And, you know, instead of selling him another condo, I changed the perspective. You know, I flipped the script on the guy and I said, dude, you don't have to buy a condo to get a return on your investment or to get that mailbox check. Buy a house. And now he's looking at doing something completely different, you know? So
yeah, I spoke with him last night through email and connected him with my buddy Bobby, who's going to structure all of his he's going to structure all of his taxes the correct way so he can get that set up. But yeah, that goes back to your earlier question, is what's better, a house or a condo?
Yeah.
If you're going to buy a condo, buy boutique and unique that is in a small unit. Like, don't buy something that's in 70 has 70 other units. Like, if you really want, yeah, some of them have 200. You want to buy something no more than 8. I mean, if you can buy something that's with 20, but it's got to be distributed evenly, right? There might be 4 1-bedrooms, there might be, 6 like 2-bedrooms, and then they have like 2-bedroom penthouses, 3-bedroom penthouses, 1-bedroom penthouses, or something like that, where you've diversified within the development, because that's going to be where you are going to really be able to get your return. And I don't think that's just in Mexico. I think that that's around that's anything in life, like always diversify, right? And I think that's important.
So to wrap up my train of thought, I'm hoping right now what I've done with you guys, if whoever's listening, whoever's there, or whoever watches this later, is I hope I've changed your perspective to think outside the box a little bit. Don't just go with the flow because everyone else is buying condos, and like Nick just said right now, there are some unique opportunities, if you can buy a condo that's 100 meters from Papaya Playa Project, Habitat, and Azulik, and you have a condo that's literally right there, that's going to be competing with the nightly stays. In other words, it costs $2,000 a night to stay in Azulik. It costs you $900 a night to stay in Papaya Playa Project. And you can rent a tent in the glamping in the Habitat for $600 a night. But if you have a condo that's right there and you have it for $150 or $200 a night, and during high season when all these festivals come in, you're going to break it in. So I mean, if you had that opportunity, that's still a good opportunity, but there's only 2 or 3 of those opportunities that are actually here until then. So think outside the box, think eco-friendly, think you can make money going other ways. You don't have to go, with the oceanfront. Buy a house, invest in houses, buy land, invest in eco-friendly developments, sustainable projects, support. If you want, we can't change the fact that people are going to develop, because it's going to happen. Whether I like it, whether Nick's like it, we don't know, whatever. We can argue till we're blue in the face saying, please don't do it. It's going to happen. It's happening. But what we can do is we can sell the projects that are trying to make a difference in the environment and how it's being built and what it's doing. So we can actually push that agenda and help them become successful so they can build more like that. And that's how we can force the change and to kind of change the trend in the way things are going.
Exactly. And if you're watching this or listening to this, is that we have financing. So this does get unlocked a little bit.
Go,
right?
Nick.
So, I mean, I'm gonna plug your people. I'm going to plug my people. But yeah, I mean, there is an option now to do financing. And if you haven't seen or heard that, go to my channel and you'll see me and Alberto sitting with Carlos, and he discusses the ins and outs of how to make that work. It's very, very, very similar to what we know in the United States and Canada. It's a bank in Europe, and they will finance you. And so that is another game changer. And outside of that, if you want to learn anything more or get in contact with us, I'll put a link below for my book, and there, you can book a call with us and get everything organized that you need to, if you'd like to. And we're going to continue.
One last thing, Nick. So you said we have financing.
Mm-hmm.
We've got escrow, alliances with escrow. We got alliances with homeowners insurance, rental insurance, set up for your house. We have alliances with developers, and we might be in Cabo soon. So,
and furniture and property management,
it's more than a trifecta. Like literally, it's the one-stop shop. And tax consulting. I'm not even a CPA, but you got it down, bro. So that's all you.
Bobby will take care of you.
Yeah.
Even W-2, 1099. You live in another country, you buy a property in another country, buy a property here, you get the FEIE tax credit. Oh man, I could go. That's a whole nother story.
Yeah,
gotta have Bobby on here.
It's like the TV. I just want it to work. Just push the button. That's all I wanted to do.
And then we're gonna have the Discord channel come soon. I promise.
Yes, it's just so much. I'm still trying to do a contract right now. It's gonna take me 3 days. So
videos on the financing, and then click below. I'll include my book there if you're interested in learning more and going through the journey that I've gone for the past 3 years. And we'll see you guys next week.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you.
Thank you later.